The world remembers Ingrid Bergman as a legend, her life marked by both quiet sorrow and extraordinary triumph. Yet behind the public image, few ever knew that even after 3 marriages, she carried the memory of a secret man. Had this truth been revealed during her lifetime, it would have shocked the world. In 1982, Ingrid Bergman passed away after a long battle with breast cancer. After her funeral, her twin daughters uncovered a hidden memoir, carefully tucked away in her wardrobe. Within its pages were deeply personal reflections about a man, an actor who had captivated her from their very first meeting and continued to appear in her dreams. He was immense, she wrote of this unforgettable figure. But who was he? And why did she choose to keep him a secret until the end? Born in Stockholm, Ingrid's early life was shaped by loss. Her mother died when she was just 3, and her father passed away when she was only 12. Orphaned so young, shy and emotionally fragile, she found comfort on the stage. At the Royal Dramatic Theatre School, she began to flourish, standing out for both her natural beauty and her raw talent. Her early work in Swedish cinema proved she was far more than just a beautiful face. She was an artist who transformed grief into powerful performances, radiating a quiet strength that audiences deeply felt. Then, in 1939, everything changed. Legendary producer David O. Selznick brought her to Hollywood. With the film Intermezzo, she became an overnight sensation. Her natural, untouched beauty set her apart from the glamorous image of other stars at the time. Over the years, Ingrid built a remarkable career, appearing in more than 50 films across multiple countries. She achieved the rare Triple Crown of Acting, winning 3 Oscars, 2 Emmys, and a Tony Award, along with numerous international honors. But her success came at a cost. At the height of her fame, she began an affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini, while still married and with a child. The scandal transformed her public image overnight, from a beloved icon to a figure of controversy. The media attacked her relentlessly, and even the U.S. Congress condemned her actions. Forced into exile, she left Hollywood for Italy, her reputation shattered. The personal toll was immense. She was separated from her eldest daughter, Pia, for years and was criticized as a mother. Though she eventually reunited with her children, the emotional scars never fully faded. Her life became a cycle of love, loss, and resilience through 3 marriages and divorces. In her later years, as illness weakened her, Ingrid turned to writing. Her memoir became more than a record of her career. It revealed the deepest emotions of her life. And within those pages, one name stood out above all: Gregory Peck. To understand his significance, we return to 1945, when Alfred Hitchcock released Spellbound. In the film, Ingrid played a psychiatrist, while Gregory Peck portrayed an amnesiac patient. Their on-screen chemistry was so powerful that audiences believed their romance was real. But off-screen, something more subtle was unfolding. From their first meeting, Ingrid was struck by Peck's presence. Tall, composed, and effortlessly elegant, he carried a quiet strength that filled every room he entered. His voice was deep and warm, his manner gentle, yet commanding. She would later recall that he didn't simply walk into a room. He transformed it. Every gesture, every word carried a sense of calm authority. In that moment, she felt surrounded by an energy she could never quite forget. A man who embodied both strength and grace in a way that left a lasting mark on her heart. Above all, Gregory Peck carried a rare calmness, one that made everyone around him feel safe. During the months of filming, an unspoken bond seemed to grow between him and Ingrid Bergman. It wasn't loud or obvious, but it was powerful. At times, Ingrid would lose herself watching him from across the set, forgetting her lines entirely. It wasn't a desire, she would later admit. It was an admiration, almost a surrender of the heart. What touched her most was his character. In an industry often filled with chaos and temptation, Peck remained grounded, principled, composed, and quietly supportive of others. Even as Ingrid's life moved through triumphs on stage, acclaim in European cinema, public scandals, and the slow pain of illness, one memory never faded: him. He stayed with her, not just in thought, but in dreams. She would wake with a feeling she couldn't quite explain, a gentle ache, as if she had once come close to something eternal. When Spellbound was filmed in 1945, both were already tied to other lives. Gregory Peck was married, and Ingrid was still with her first husband, Peter Lindstrom. On screen, their chemistry was undeniable. Off-screen, whispers began to circulate. Had their connection gone beyond the script? For years, both remained silent. But decades later, Peck finally acknowledged the truth. During the filming of Spellbound, they had shared a brief, deeply felt romance. "I loved her," he once said softly, "and I think that's enough." It began quietly. After long days on set, they would walk together, talking about life far from the cameras. Ingrid spoke of the pressures of fame and the growing distance in her marriage. Lindstrom, a man who valued privacy and stability, struggled to understand her rising stardom. Their differences, especially over family and the future, left her feeling increasingly alone. Then Peck entered her life, not with judgment, but with understanding. He listened. He didn't try to change her. And in that quiet empathy, Ingrid found something she had been missing. One crew member later recalled a morning when the two arrived late to set, clothes slightly disheveled, faces tired, yet glowing with an unspoken joy. It was enough to spark rumors. The line between performance and reality seemed to blur. But just as quickly as it began, they realized how fragile their connection was. Both had families, and Hollywood had little forgiveness for forbidden love. Their goodbye was simple and heartbreaking. One evening after filming, they sat together in silence over a final cup of coffee. Ingrid placed her hand over his, her eyes filled with emotion. "We can't let this ruin everything," she said. Peck didn't argue. He understood. Some things are only meant to exist as memories, untouched by scandal, protected from the world. The next day, they returned to set. When the cameras rolled, they performed their love scene as written. But beneath the script was something real. When Peck looked into her eyes, Ingrid broke. Tears falling, not as acting, but from something deeper. The set fell silent. Even the director, Alfred Hitchcock, seemed to sense that something genuine had just been captured. On screen, it became a perfect moment. In reality, it was the echo of a love they could never fully claim. Their relationship remained hidden, a quiet, uncelebrated chapter of Hollywood's golden age. Yet it lived on in their hearts. Years later, Peck would call Ingrid the true love of his life. And she carried that truth with her, silently, until the end. Why did she never reveal it? Not even in her final days? Not because it lacked meaning, but because she understood the cost of such a truth. In the 1940s, Hollywood was a glittering cage, beautiful on the surface, yet unforgiving beneath. One confession, one poorly timed headline, could destroy a career overnight. For Gregory Peck, the situation was even more fragile. He and Ingrid Bergman were both married, drawn together in a moment shaped by loneliness and the overwhelming pressures of fame. What they shared was real, but it was never meant to last. Ingrid understood that revealing the truth would only corrupt it. Their story would be torn apart by gossip, twisted by headlines, and reduced to scandal. so she chose silence. Not out of denial, but out of protection. Silence to preserve the purity of what they had. Silence to protect Peck. Silence to safeguard a fleeting moment where two hearts had truly connected. And so, she carried that secret to her grave, not as something hidden in shame, but as something carefully preserved, like a fragile flame shielded from a storm. A love never exposed, like a film reel that was never shown to the world. But Ingrid Bergman's life was far more than hidden romance. Her final years told a quieter, more painful story, one the public never fully saw. In the early 1970s, while performing The Constant Wife in London, her life took an unexpected turn. At the height of her stage brilliance, she discovered a lump in her left breast. Without hesitation, she sought treatment. On June 15, 1974, she quietly underwent surgery at a private London clinic. The news was kept completely out of the press, but it marked the beginning of a long and difficult battle with breast cancer. Despite the diagnosis, Ingrid faced her illness with remarkable strength. She continued to work, performing and transforming herself on screen as if nothing could break her spirit. But the disease was relentless. Years later, while filming Autumn Sonata, she again sensed something was wrong and returned to London for further treatment. In her final months, she lived in quiet isolation. Outside her apartment in London's Cheney Gardens, fans and reporters gathered, hoping for a glimpse of the legend. But inside, she endured intense pain as the cancer spread, her lungs weakening. Determined to preserve the image the world remembered, Ingrid avoided appearing at the window. She chose not to let the public see the toll the illness had taken on her body. Yet those who were close to her remembered something else entirely. Her smile, her grace, her unwavering composure. Even in suffering, she held firmly to one belief: that art and integrity mattered above all. On August 29, 1982, her 67th birthday, Ingrid Bergman passed away peacefully in her London home after 8 years of quiet resilience. There was something deeply symbolic in her passing. A woman who had lived her entire life in the spotlight, leaving the world on the very day she entered it. Her funeral took place at St. Martin-in-the-Fields in London, where thousands gathered to say goodbye. Later, her ashes were returned to Sweden and scattered in the sea near her childhood home, a final poetic return to where her story began. From an orphaned girl on a Stockholm stage to one of cinema's greatest icons, her life came full circle. And when the curtain finally fell, people wondered what remained after the fame, the scandals, and the unforgettable performances. The answer was simple: her legacy. Ingrid Bergman lived fearlessly. She defied expectations, embraced both triumph and controversy, and never abandoned her devotion to her craft. Her legacy lives not only in films like Casablanca, Gaslight, and Autumn Sonata, but in the spirit she embodied. A woman who dared to love, to challenge the world around her, and to keep performing even as her strength faded. As one critic beautifully wrote, she did not truly die on that August day in 1982. She simply stepped off the stage, leaving behind an applause that will echo forever. By the late 1970s, Ingrid Bergman's health was rapidly declining, but she refused to give in. Determined to keep working, she pushed herself to complete her final project, the television drama A Woman Called Golda. Portraying Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, she delivered a performance of extraordinary LQEWO and depth, one that earned her both an Emmy and a Golden Globe, even though she did not live to witness its release. It became her final, proud farewell to a life devoted entirely to stage and screen. Her legacy only grew stronger with time. The American Film Institute ranked her 4th among the 25 greatest actresses in cinema history, and she was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 2015, marking the centenary of her birth, the Cannes Film Festival chose her image for its official poster, an honor reserved for only the most enduring icons. Her influence extended far beyond awards. The Swedish Film Institute created a permanent exhibition celebrating her life and career, while her legacy was immortalized in unexpected ways. In 1984, a deep red rose was named after her, symbolizing passion, strength, and vitality, much like the woman herself. A statue stands in her hometown of Stockholm, honoring the Swedish star who brought pride to her nation. More than just a film icon, Ingrid Bergman became a lasting source of inspiration across art, music, and culture. Her elegance, strength, and fearless life made her a muse for generations. One remarkable tribute came in the form of the song Ingrid Bergman, written in 1950 by legendary folk singer Woody Guthrie. In his lyrics, he praised her as a force of nature, someone powerful enough to shake mountains, and even referenced her connection to the island of Stromboli, where she worked with Roberto Rossellini. Interestingly, Guthrie never recorded the song himself. It remained hidden for decades until 1998, when Billy Bragg and Wilco brought it to life on the album Mermaid Avenue. The track quickly stood out, its haunting melody and heartfelt lyrics capturing the timeless allure of Bergman, even for those unfamiliar with classics like Casablanca or Gaslight. From an unpublished poem to a revived song, Ingrid Bergman proved she was more than a cinematic legend. She became a cultural symbol, living on through poetry, music, and art. Even those who had never seen her films could feel her presence, her story, her spirit. Her life unfolded like a grand film, filled with brilliance, unexpected turns, and deep sorrow. But when the final curtain fell, it was her courage, her integrity, and her passion that defined her greatest role, being herself. Passing away on her 67th birthday, it was as if she had chosen the perfect ending, closing the circle of her life with quiet grace. From that moment on, she no longer belonged to Hollywood or Europe alone. She became part of cinema history, part of humanity's shared memory. Her true legacy is not just found in awards or performances, but in how she lived. Fearlessly, she dared to love, to face scandal, to walk away from Hollywood in search of truth, and to stand on stage even as illness consumed her. Like the crimson rose that bears her name, Ingrid Bergman continues to bloom, proud, timeless, and unforgettable in the hearts of cinephiles. She is not just a star of one era, but a flame that endures across generations. A reminder that true art can outlive scandal, suffering, and even death itself. And if her story leaves you thinking, perhaps that's the point. Because behind the spotlight and applause, legends carry hidden struggles, silent wounds, and untold truths. What we see is often only the surface. The deeper stories remain, waiting quietly for the moment they are finally revealed.